message for the ladies and gentlemen around the world and all the ships at sea.
We all make choices, but in the end, our choices make us.
So choose wisely. Subscribe to It's Erik Nagel wherever shows are found, on whatever platform you choose. And as always, leave us a positive review. Would you kindly? It's Erik Nagel. It starts now.
What up, my Nagel? 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 Talking about George R.R. Martin, not writing. Talking Marvel versus DC, who's more exciting? Talking George Lucas's legacy, high-scoring centipede. Talking Gittles' new beef burrito recipe. Talking about Stephanie McMahon versus Sable. Talking about the Cybermen versus the Weeping Angels. Don't blink, the dialect's more deadly than you think. Talking summer ale, blueberry pale, craft beer, pouring drinks. What up, my Nagel? Deadpool 2 features Cable. Talking Funko Pop, celebrity signed a label. Talking online gaming, bitchin' and complaining. Talking E-Rock, kissing the feet of Matt Groening. Warner Brothers properties, Superman's a mockery. Weird Al concerts, Kevin Smith's debauchery. Rick and Morty fun zone. The Lego build team, can I have your attention? Possible Donkey Kong kill screen. What up, my Nagel? What up, my Nagel? What up, my Nagel? What up, my Nagel?
Ladies and gentlemen of the universe, the next voice you hear.
It's Erik Nagel.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of It's Erik Nagel. That is me, and over in the upside down is Gittles.
Yo, what up, man?
Phone lines are open, 651-SMITHERS, that's 651-764-8437 if you want to get in touch with the program. It's Erik Nagel across the board on social media. Like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've actually, we're getting closer to passing the 1,000 threshold.
Almost there.
Almost there. So thank you to everybody who's been helping us out. And if you can, just go and what we're doing, the set it and forget it. Just subscribe to it, and you never have to interact with the channel again if you don't choose to. Just set up a dummy account. But you could
also choose to.
You could choose to, yes, but you could just set up a dummy account and hit a subscription, and that'll help us out. And that's it. That's all we're asking for. Anyway, on today's program, we have a lot of weird stuff to get into as far as movies and TV and what have you. But then there's also everyday life that comes at us, and some weird things do develop, and that's what we're going to get into here in segment one. Gittles, how have you been?
Fighting a little bit of a cold right now, but otherwise pretty good.
What do you got?
I don't know, man. I think I got whatever this, I feel like I'm the last person to get this chest cold that's been going around for the last 2 months, because it's been kind of achy and have a little bit of a cough. Just haven't been sleeping well, a lot of congestion, but no real fever, no green mucus, nothing that's indicated of an infection or something like that. So I don't know, it's probably some sort of virus. I'm gonna probably try and go to the doctor if it doesn't get better in the next day or so.
Right.
Just get it checked out.
Yeah, I got something at least a month, maybe towards the end of January, where it was this stomach flu kind of nonsense, but it was only for a day. It just hit me, and all of a sudden you just can't stop, and then a day later you're like, oh, it's like nothing ever happened.
Yeah, you're like, oh, glad that's over with.
Oh yeah, but for the rest of the winter I've been pretty good as far as not getting anything. I've been wearing the masks on the train, I've been doing Purelling, I've been scrubbing everywhere I can. Meaning places, not body parts. Go ahead.
I haven't been using public transit, and this past weekend I used both the Long Island Railroad and the subway. So who knows?
Your resistance was down.
And yeah, I hit the Long Island Railroad, the subway, and then the other subway was down. So I had to hop on a bus. So I literally was planes, trains, and automobiles. Without the planes. And I think going between all three of those things, I probably picked up something somewhere.
Quite possibly. You know what? As much as people make fun of this every time they've seen a photo of me wearing it, this winter I tried those fingerless gloves.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I know they're kind of dumb looking, but I tried them, and more times than not, they've actually been really good when you're riding public transit.
Yeah, they're not bad because you're not really touching your fingertips.
You touching the escalators, holding the doors, touching the railings of anything.
Palm.
Yeah. That's what I've been doing. And then I take those home and I wash them at least once, if not twice a week, because they're fabric. I just throw them in the wash real quick, and then just wearing them around has actually been, I think, a big deterrent considering how little I've actually been sick during this winter season.
Yeah, could be, man. You might have just gotten super lucky. I thought I was gonna pass through it, and then this week just bam, just hit me.
Mm.
I know Trevor's sick too, because he texted. He said he has like pneumonia or something like that. So it's definitely something going around.
Well, Trevor's working at a different place now than he used to work. He's working at a bigger corporation, and the facility that he works at, where that helps take care of our show as well, is pretty big. Like there's like 7 radio stations in that place and multiple floors. So
it's so easy.
You're concentrating so many people into such a small place that, yeah, exactly. It's so easy for anybody just to pass along to the entire company.
Yeah.
But anyway, anything else going on in your life outside of being sick?
Other than that, not really too much.
No.
Same old shit.
I dealt with, work over at Compound. We had a drunk guy boxing a blind guy. And then we had Lenny Dykstra come in, who is in the news right now. He's a former Major League Baseball player, played for the 1986 New York Mets, World Series champions. Apparently another Met, Ron Darling, made some comments about him in his new book that just came out, and they were quite disparaging. And Lenny was not taking... He was saying that during the 86 World Series, there was this black pitcher for the Boston Red Sox on the mound named Oil Can Boyd. That was his name. And claims that Lenny was off in the on-deck circle shouting, racial comments and really nasty, mean stuff to him. But a whole bunch of the other Mets that are still around came to Lenny's defense and said, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
Like Darryl Strawberry, Doc Good, and Mookie Wilson. And these are all black gentlemen, and they're all saying that, no, Ron, I don't remember this at all. In fact, Mookie Wilson also posted that Davey Johnson, who was the manager at the time, and Howard Johnson, who was the third baseman at the time, were... Hojo. Were leading... Hojo. The kids could call you Hojo. We're leading the barrage by calling the guy Shit Can as a way of taunting him. Now, Shit Can, it's not nice, but it's not awful, like Ron Darling was claiming. And Mookie also said that Howard Johnson was, the team leader in agitating anybody. So all these people were just shouting shit at each other. And if you know anything about the 86 Mets, there's been documentaries and books about them. They were a really rowdy, fucked up bunch of people. And so calling names and throwing things from the dugout and what have you during their games in the World Series, not unheard of. By today's standards, you get you get suspended just for, tweeting out the wrong thing. But here they're throwing cans onto the field. They're yelling at people. And everybody else was saying this isn't necessarily the case of what Ron Darling was claiming. So anyway, Lenny was in the city and he was talking to a couple of shows about what was going on. So we managed to track him down and get him in on Anthony's show. That video of the whole interview is up on YouTube. You can look for it with Lenny Dykstra. And we also had Rob Van Dam, former WWE and ECW superstar. He was in as well. It was an insane interview. Lenny Dykstra is just one of those people that has no filter and does not care.
Was he in the Simpsons softball team?
No, he was the Homer at the bat.
Yeah.
No, he was not in that. Daryl was, but Lenny Dykstra was not. No.
Okay.
So anyway, that you can look for that online. We had that going on. And then we also had Wrestlemania stuff this week, or so I thought. So WrestleMania 35 is happening this Sunday, April 7th, at MetLife Stadium in the Meadowlands of New Jersey, 5 p.m. Eastern on the WWE Network if you want to check that out. So what happens when WrestleMania comes to any city that it's in? It takes over the city pretty much for the week. So they have their superstar talent going around doing charitable events, going to, in New York City, they're going to all the daytime talk shows and news organizations. They're going on the late night talk shows and news organizations and doing radio, doing sports press, doing all of these things. So a while back, notices went out that with WrestleMania coming, if you want to be part of the media pool to come and do interviews and do all these things, go ahead and apply. So I did for the show, and we got approved. And then the details started coming in last week that here are the list of events. Here's what we've been approved for. And, interviews are always subject to change because they move people around at the last minute. So if you were promised such and such at this time, it may switch to other people just because of scheduling and what have you. So, okay, looking forward to that. And then I get a notice that some of these interviews are not going to be happening, that it's going to be, instead of the one-on-ones that I thought we were going to get, is being switched to junket style. Either a press line where they walk through and you get to ask questions as they're coming through, and but there's other people asking at the same time.
It's like Comic-Con.
Yeah, Comic-Con does it too. But Comic-Con has the main press line where they come to you down the sort of the red carpet area, and you get to do a short-timed one-on-one with the person that you're speaking with. Junket style is you're all sitting there like a press conference with the microphones on there, and you try to get a question in. Or they have a round table where they do the same thing. And the problem with that is, and I had this problem at Sirius XM too, when we'd go to these events, that they wanted to do round tables or these junket style things. It's like, we can't air that because it doesn't sound good. You're hearing everybody else clamoring over each other, or you're hearing people from other media outlets asking their questions or commentary, and you don't have their permission to air it, so you can't air it that way. You have to do the one-on-ones. So Thursday comes around, here's everything that we're doing, and I realize that we are just not getting the same kind of access that we used to. And think about it. All right, kind of makes sense. We're not on the same high-profile platform that we used to be. It's totally different now, so you just kind of have to accept it and realize, all right, we don't have the cloud or the access that we used to have. They're not going to give it to us, so what can we do? The rest of the stuff that we had sort of scheduled, I found out that certain events that I was expecting to go to, that all of a sudden there's no passes. There's no access to all these things like we used to have in the past. So I said, okay. And after seeing how this is going now for the rest of the events, I've politely declined our invite to everything else. So this was not what I was expecting, but what can you do? It is business, and times have changed. So we just don't have that kind of access anymore. So
they're a very busy organization. They're very picky.
Yeah, so I just kind of bowed out gracefully. I said, all right, well, I appreciate the invites or, the access to certain things, but I'm going to have to decline everything else, and we'll not be attending that. So the rest of the events, I was hoping to have some WrestleMania stuff going into this week's show and possibly for next week's thing, but that ain't going to happen. Although I do have some tickets for WrestleMania that were given to me, so I shall be attending for that on Sunday. So I don't know if I'm going to stay for the whole thing because it's quite an ordeal. It starts at 5 p.m. 5 to 7 is the pre-show stuff and the pre-show matches. 7 to 11 is the actual WrestleMania event. There's 14 matches on this card from 5 to 11.
Jesus, who are you going with? Not Gittles.
Believe me, I would have loved to invite you and other people, but these tickets were, again, I was not expecting these things. I was invited and said, hey, these tickets are available. Would you like to take one of these? So I said, yes, I would. And that I shall be attending on Sunday. So I don't think I'm going to stay for the whole thing. And that's not usually like me. I usually always stayed for the wrestling stuff till the very end, even after when TV was off. They do some things usually after, but this time around, I think I'm going to bail somewhere after a couple of hours because I just don't want to.
You don't care for the main event?
No, there's a bunch of great main events, but again, you have to get there, and it probably 3:30. The thing starts at 5 for the pre-show stuff with matches. Then the main event of WrestleMania starts at 7, and then you have all that because there's 3 main events, and those are at the end of the show, going from the 9 to 10, 11 o'clock hour. Mm-hmm. Probably by that point, I'm just gonna hop in the car and head home because I only live 20-something minutes from.
You're pretty close.
Close to it, so I could just get on the highway and speed home. I could have the network streaming on my phone while I'm going home, and I won't miss anything. So anyway, besides all of that, I'm trying to see what else has been going on here. there's been some weird laws that are being passed in the state of New York and the state of New Jersey. And I'm only bringing this up because it might seem too local for people who don't live in this area. But I want to bring these up because they are local, but they could affect other cities as this grows here in New York City. One of them is not too long ago, we were talking about Governor Cuomo, governor of the state of New York, who was looking to change that film tax incentive. Remember, for the state of New York, for production companies coming into New York.
Well, he mentioned it, but I don't know if he actually was serious about going through with it.
Well, there was a bunch of things he mentioned, but some of this stuff has now been going through. Not the film tax part, but the motion to up the law for smoking cigarettes has passed in New York State. And now it moves on to the next thing before that makes it finalized. So New York State's trying to raise the age of people smoking from 18 to 21, which the states have the right. I thought it was a federal thing, but apparently that's not. Drinking is a federal thing.
Drinking's a federal thing. States
can determine the smoking, right? So New York State wants to raise it up to 21, which I think would make it the second or the third state in the United States to actually do this. But the smoking just doesn't include cigarettes. It also includes electronic cigarettes, vapes, Juuls, all those brands. Anything that you can possibly smoke, whether it has tobacco in it or not, that can be sold is now going to be included under this law in New York State to be raised to the age of 21. What I don't get is this. So if New York State passes this thing fully and it becomes a full law, and it does well, it could trigger other states to do the same because it seems Congress has a big hard-on for the whole electronic smoking industry.
It's something new. It's something that they haven't figured out how to make a lot of money on. They're trying to figure it out.
Well, but then they also blame it that there's too many kids using this thing, so we have to regulate. Kids are using this stuff. So here's the thing. Let's just say basic cigarettes. Keep it kind of easy. All right. So if you have been kids smoke in their teenage years until it was 18 and they're legal. So say you were smoking in your teenage years and it's illegal and you hit 18, you can smoke illegally. Now you're 18 through 21. The law say it passes this year.
Yeah.
You're addicted to this stuff. Right? Some people smoke casually, but a lot of people smoke addictively. Like they can't function without a cigarette or many cigarettes throughout the day. So say you're 19 and you've been smoking almost 2 years now legally. The law changes. Now you have to wait another 2 years before you can smoke again, and you've already got this chemical dependency. Like, what do you do here? How do they figure this out? Because if it happens here, it can happen in other states around the country, and everyone's just going to get screwed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like people are still just going to get their cigarettes anyway.
Right.
Like, I mean, I feel like the vape stuff, like, people just order that online. Like, you can just get that mailed to you. Like, you don't have to buy that in state.
Yeah, but they do have those things online, too, where if your state says you have to be a certain age and you're having it shipped to that state, they can't sell it to you.
Yeah, but you just get your friends in one of those states to ship it to you.
Oh, so they go to Walmart, buy them up, throw them in a box and send them over? Yeah, that makes sense. I'm just talking about...
People are doing that with, like, just weed in general. They're just mailing it from California out here, Well, in the regular fucking mail. People are bringing in their luggage. So, like, if kids will find a way to get it. I mean... I don't know how they'll regulate it. Yeah, if some kid's been smoking since he's 18, and now the law changes, you can't buy a pack of cigarettes. Like that's fucking weird.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Do they grandfather it in, saying if you were born at this year?
That's probably what they'll do.
You can still smoke.
It'll probably be like the age is changing to this. But, if you're already 19 or 20 when the law hits, it'll probably say, but if you're born after this year,
right,
you're fine.
So if you're 18 now, say in the year 2019, so you were born in 2001. So would the law say that if you were born before or up to 2001, you can still smoke? If you were born after such and such a date in 2001, or if you were born in 2002 and beyond, that you can't smoke until you're 21? Is that how it works? Is that even possible?
No, I think what it would probably do is it would probably say, like, this is what the law is changing, but they would probably still have a specific date for people who would be like grandfathered in. You know what I mean? So like they would find one date, say this is the date. Everything forward from here, you can still smoke and buy them. If you're born before this, you have to wait till you're 21.
And what's to stop people too by going across the river to New Jersey, where it's still 18 to buy it, or up to Connecticut, it's not that far to go and buy them? Is it also illegal to be smoking and have it if you're not 21, or is it just illegal to purchase it until you're 21?
I think it's illegal to purchase it. I mean, I honestly don't know. I think it just sounds pretty stupid. But
it does, but a lot of stupid things are happening now. And what you used to think in the past, like there's no way this is going to pass, or there's no way they're going to do these things. And then these things happen. Like you can't even look at it objectively anymore, saying that's too bizarre and messed up that it will never get through, because more times than not, a lot of these weird things are passing and getting through.
I mean, honestly, I don't care if the smoking age goes up to 21 because I'm in my 30s. So like, it doesn't really affect me in any way. But I mean, if they'll find a way to figure it out, I mean, I don't know. I don't care that much. About
Would you
that
care?
issue.
Did you? We know you smoke other things, but did you ever?
Meats.
Were you ever a cigarette smoker in your life?
No, not really.
Right, you were just mostly with weed, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
So okay, so then you didn't have any kind of experience or addiction or affinity to smoking cigarettes, but a lot of people do. So those people, actually, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it,
but here's the thing: like right now, like I'll roll like spliffs. So it'll be like 25% like tobacco and like 75% like grass. That's what I'll smoke now. The problem is
that's like a recipe, though. That's like making you have a recipe for making something. It's like, oh, we mix a little this and that. It's not straight out cigarette smoking.
Yeah, no, but check this out. So the rolling tobacco, I would just buy, like just cheapo rolling tobacco. It used to be $5 a pouch. You can get it at any bodega. Yeah. The law changed, so they can't sell rolling tobacco anymore in the bodegas. So the price on all of them like went over like $20 a pack, like overnight.
Just for the unrolled tobacco.
Just for like the regular stuff that I was paying $5 a pack for.
Wow.
And now I have to go, like, because they don't even sell it anymore now, so you can't really get it in a lot of stores. So I have to go to like, a good lesson in New York is to know your bodega man, because you have to go to the right bodega and be like, hey, what's up, Poppy? And he's like, oh, it's you. And then he finds it and he has the pack and he still sells it to me for the $5 price. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Yeah.
So you got to like.
You got to know a guy.
You can maneuver your way around it, but like, yeah, that law change was ridiculous and it really affected things.
It just occurred to me while I was thinking about this during the week when all this information was coming out, and just now as we were talking, is tobacco even that big a deal for younger people? I think the including of the electronic cigarettes and the Juuls and all thing are going to be the bigger.
Most kids vaping.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the bigger problem for younger people than cigarettes, because I don't know many people who are smoking. Like, I've not seen a lot of younger people smoking cigarettes anymore. They're constantly, whatever that thing is that looks like a black box with the
Juuls.
Well, no, the Juuls are the thin ones, those thin little ones.
Well, the big. I know you're talking about
the big cartridge box thing, with the mouthpiece on that. The high tech shit, as the kids call it.
Those things aren't cheap; they're expensive.
No, I know, but you see people, especially on the train and walking around the city, everybody's doing that. So I think the electronic cigarettes and the Juul stuff, that's going to be the bigger issue, that they're lumping it in with the cigarettes rather than just the cigarettes. Because the history of cigarettes, at least in New York State, they've been trying to fight cigarettes forever, where you can't smoke in buildings, you can't smoke in restaurants, you can't smoke. It used to be if they had to have a separate ventilated area for you to smoke in a restaurant or a building. Now that's not even allowed. You can't even have that. People have to smoke in designated sections outside. You can't even just smoke outside most buildings anymore. There'll be a square.
I don't have a problem with any of these things.
There's a square over, painted somewhere near there, or they have like a corporate park inside their building in the center where you can go and smoke, and it's away from people. So smoking's always been an issue in New York City. Oh, also that the price of the packs have constantly gone up and up. I think it's $12 a pack or $14 a pack. Something like ridiculous 14, in New York State. So the electronic stuff, you don't do any of that stuff, right? You're not doing the Juuls or the...
Oh, no, I don't like that stuff at all.
But you've got friends that do, right? Are they into it, or are they just all doing weed?
No, they usually just they're vaping like weed and shit like that, like THC oil. I don't know anyone who like. I mean, I know like a couple of people who vape like the Juuls and stuff like that, but even that, they're getting like weed cartridges for their Juuls.
So what do they do? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, I think that the issue with like the Juul and the electronic cigarettes is it's almost like going back to the original days of like cigarette ads, where it's not. The dangers of it aren't being marketed up front, but like the coolness of it kind of is being marketed up front. You know what I mean? So I think that's what they're trying to like kind of regulate. And they're also like, while doing that, you know, adding other stipulations such as maybe the age increase and probably more taxes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everything always comes down to if they can't get rid of it and the public will keep fighting it, they'll just keep raising up the price as long as people are still willing to pay for the damn things. I just think this might take its toll at this point here with all the electronic stuff, because there's a lot of adults who've gotten off cigarettes and switched to the electronic cigarettes and the vaping and what have you. That's going to cause a huge problem. I mean, the older people can just buy it. They're not going to give a shit. But if they increase the price, they increase the taxes on it to making it as astronomical as a pack of cigarettes in the state, then that's really going to become a huge issue. For now, it's just affecting younger people with that. And I guess people can just say, well, they shouldn't be smoking it anyway at that age.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Because the more they try to tighten up this stuff, I just you know what? I know it's bad, but if people are going to do it, let them do it. You know, have it kind of just, you know, filter out the people who are going to survive by doing these horrible, awful things.
Yeah, I mean, we could use that same logic for legalizing every drug.
Yeah, why not? Go ahead. If they're gonna do it anyway. There's only so much you can do.
That is true. Legalizing it does make people stop more so,
or it decreases the direct abuse of it, in the sense of, because it's illegal, people are more likely to just do what they can with it because it's illegal, trying to get as much of it as they can. If you legalize it, then it's just like going to the grocery store. It's like, all right, I can always just go on Saturday and pick some stuff up.
Well, no, it's different though. It's like when you legalize it, then you take away the stigma from it. So people who feel like they have to hide and do things in the shadows and like don't, you know what they're doing. If it's legal, they can do it and be safe and do it openly. And, you know, it's still dangerous, but they're not having to do it all shadily because it's illegal.
Mm. You see that CVS and Walgreens have fought back, and they're going to be releasing CBD oil in a bunch in their stores in several states.
I mean, why not? The bodegas, every bodega here has it.
Right, but
I have like gummies right here. Just sitting here.
Do you really? Wow.
I mean, yeah, they're like gummy bears. My sister came by with a whole pack of them, and I ate like a whole bunch, and all I did was sleep better.
There was a thing where not too long ago, I think a couple of CVSs were selling the oil, and they were getting a lot of flack federally, I guess, like the Food and Drug Administration were fighting this, saying that just because you have these things, because I think they're edibles or oil, right? Those are the two forms they come in.
Well, yeah, they have them in the vape canisters, like
they do it too. Okay.
Yeah, they have it like that, and then they have it in oil, and they have it crackers. I've seen gummy bears. I've seen tea. I've seen coffee. I see beverages now.
All right, so there's a bunch of different things. I thought it was just
I've
like
seen
an oil.
Kombucha. Like, no, it's in everything.
All right,
because you can infuse it into sugars, and then you can bake with it. You can like make syrups with it. People use sodas with it. You can do anything.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at here that it seems that there's even a big enough demand that they've already been trying to infuse it as salves. Is it salves? SALVES? Is that how you say salves? And lotions, like they're putting into body creams and hand lotions and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know what the effectiveness of all of it is.
Some of them say it helps with pain relief for arthritis and other ailments, and that's coming from the CEO of CVS. Like, that's a huge corporation, and they're even on board with saying, look, people are asking for all of these things, so it's technically not illegal in this form, so why not?
Yeah. I mean, there's a demand. People are going to get it. I mean, honestly, it's everywhere here. Like, I don't know why you can't, like, it's ridiculous. And it's the funny thing is, I was walking around with friends one day.
It's legal to sell in New York State and
yeah, it's illegal to sell here. But every time you go to like a craft fair here, there's like 5 or 6 different people. They all have different CBD stuff. And the thing is, like, they're selling it as like the regular like nugs now. So it looks just like regular weed, but it's 100% legal. So it's so weird. Like, what happens if like, you know, you get pulled over by a cop or something like that and you have it in this, oh, this is CBD. Like, how do they know that it's that? Like,
yeah.
Will they just arrest you on the spot?
Well, they'll still arrest you because then it's going to take a while for it to get analyzed and to be proven that you were. So meanwhile, you're going to get arrested. They'll put you in holding until they sort this all out. So you're already going to lose a day or two out of your life if you try to go that route.
Yeah,
but
as I was saying, like me and my friends, we'd walk around this winter. We'd go to craft fairs and like holiday markets, and like we would take bets before we went in on how many different CBD vendors would be at this gift shop, because every time you'd run into so many of them. And I think the most we saw one was 8. There was 8 different people selling different kinds of CBD, but it was all the same shit. At the end of the day, it was like candies, chocolates, gummies, oils, the little bud, the people selling like pre-rolled joints of it, and then like lavenders and soaps, and it's literally everywhere. It feels like you know, when you see the Herbalife stickers,
right? It
feels like that.
Dude,
like,
Herbalife,
so much of it.
Herbalife used to be a huge sponsor of radio back in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
And I knew a couple of jocks that were just pounding this stuff like an energy pill, you know, before the energy drinks were really out there. They were just taking it as an energy pill. And then I forgot what happened to Herbalife, because they were everywhere for a while, and all of a sudden they just kind of disappeared.
I think they were an MLM scam, like a multi-level marketing scam. And I think they didn't have any like proven benefits to any of their products either.
Because they disappeared around the same time Stacker 2, if you remember that product. Stacker 2 disappeared. Stacker 2 was another energy pill that was supposed to help you. I don't know if it was supposed to help you lose weight, but it was supposed to help you with energy and keep you awake, and it was all on the up and up. And then Stacker 2 got in trouble for some stuff as well.
Yeah, Herbalife is still around though. I just Googled it and they have a website and they're still selling shit. So they might have got shut down for a little bit, but they might have like reopened.
Yeah, because they were everywhere. I remember one station I was at, they just had it all over the place. There was just, they came in like little vitamin bottles.
But not only like was it everywhere there, like every time you drive your car on like the highway, every lamppost would have like Herbalife. And you see on the back of people's cars, Herbalife, you know, like the stickers, and it was everywhere.
I never saw that, but
you never saw that? You don't remember like
I never saw the stickers. No.
Oh yeah, it always say like people having their windows. It was like the see-through kind of ones that you could just like put on. It would be like, ask me about Herbalife, or
that they were like what they do now on Facebook, where they sell essential oils and candles and all that stuff. Yeah, it's one of those things. Well, I mean, this is a big step to have 2 major corporate. Well, I guess are CVS and Walgreens the same company? They probably are. That have these big companies, these big
Walgreens
stores.
and Duane Reade are the same company, I think.
Yes, you're right. That's what it is. Walgreens and Duane Reade.
It's either Duane Reade or Rite Aid, one of those.
No, it's Walgreens and Duane Reade are the ones that are together. So CVS and Walgreens, 2 separate companies that are now welcoming these products, if not more, looking to develop more into their products in a handful of states across the country here. It's really interesting that in some ways the country has lightened up, and in other ways it's gotten even more ridiculously strict and conservative on certain things. Like, it just, when you think you're making headway with everything, it finds a different way to balance out with ridiculousness at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with CBD is it's not psychoactive, so it's just, I don't know.
CBD how is CBD different from THC?
Well, CBD, there's like all different compounds that are in like marijuana. Like, there's all different things. There's THC, CBD. CBD is like the non-psychotropic one. So it won't fuck with your head. It just literally goes to like your pain receptors and stuff like that.
So it's a hemp oil.
Yeah, CBD is basically hemp.
Yeah,
that's what you're getting. It's under a different name. And I've heard that it's really good for people who have seizures. I've also heard that like regular people who take it thinking it's going to be, you know, like a miracle thing, are like people who eat gluten-free who aren't celiac. You know what I mean? Like, you don't really need to do it, but
so like fish oil.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, I think how it works is it's not going to hurt you, But if you take it and you feel better, why not? You know?
Yeah, I mean, I get
dangerous.
I was just stating that the fact that a lot more states are passing laws to make marijuana, if they're not doing it at all, to make it medically legal, and if they're doing medically legal, to make it recreationally legal. There's a lot of progress that's been made that you never thought you would see, at least in this country, and it's getting there. It's not getting there as fast as we like, but it's getting there. Progress is being made.
Hopefully. Hopefully it keeps going, because the problem is like states have to implement it well. Like Massachusetts just had it go legal for, I think it was
back in the fall, right?
Yeah, and they're not seeing the tax revenues that other states are. And they did like an analysis of it, and the problem is that the way that Massachusetts gave out like the dispensary licenses and stuff are too spread out that they're not getting the flow to get the tax increase. You
got to put it in more concentrated areas of people.
They're just not doing that. Like they didn't set it up right. And I think a lot of the states are rushing into this thinking like, hey, it's DC rushing into the fucking the superhero world while Marvel has it all built. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're like, we have all this stuff. We're going to make it work. We're going to make it work. And they just throw it out there. But it's like, no, dude, you have to like strategically plan this. Otherwise, you just have all the goods, but you're not going to make it work.
Yeah, this has to be planned and a slow build, not just open up and we're going to do a huge cash grab.
Yeah, like it's fantastic. It's great that these laws are changing, but we waited long enough. Like if we have to wait another couple months to get it right so that it works,
so then let's
just fucking do it at this point. Because at this rate, if it's going to be legal in 6 months or like a year, and it takes a little while longer to get the system up right, like they're not going to be busting people on the streets as much for smoking it. You know, like they're gonna lax on the crime leading up to it being legalized.
I don't know about other cities around the country. But I know New York passed a thing at least a year or two ago where some of these smaller arrestable offenses involving marijuana were wiped off the books. Like people who had gotten jail time for just the minimal amount of weed on them got their thing wiped and they were released. And if you get if a cop comes over to you and sees how much you have, in eyeballs what you have there, and if it's under the limit that they approve, they just let you go. It's like it's not worth them writing the ticket. It's not worth them arresting people for this stuff because it's just such a nothing crime right now when there's bigger things to worry about. But when you have stuff like this happening in New York, I was talking to somebody and they're like, well, it's New York, that's a kind of a local thing. I said, no, New York is really the focus of a lot of the stuff in the country. So if it works in New York, other cities are going to try to adapt and say, hey, it works there, it'll work for us. So, the dumb restrictions that they're putting, like the 21 and over for cigarettes, which I don't care. Because now what? Now that you're going to get that argument too about, well, if I'm 18, I can go serve in the military, but now I can't drink or smoke a cigarette because of this nonsense. So you have these dumb laws that people are like, well, who cares? It's not going to happen. Weirder things are happening right now. So you got to be at least up on it and concerned about certain things because these dumb things can actually happen now. And now, along with that, New York City also put in, I think Chicago does this already, has congestion taxing. Yeah. That just passed last Sunday, where if you go below 61st Street in Manhattan, you get a surcharge on cabs, on Uber, on Lyft. If you're coming in from Brooklyn to go into Manhattan at certain times, you get this surcharge. I had it happen to me last Monday. I was leaving the West Side Comedy Club. I was heading, which is right next to the Beacon Theater, if you know where that is in Manhattan, and headed down to Penn Station. I get down to Penn Station, and the cab ride was $11, and then he hits the button. Now $4 more were added on top of it. I said, what the hell is that? And I look on the screen in the back of the cab and it shows the breakdown taxes. And then it just says surcharge, $4. So I asked him what the surcharge was. And he says, oh, that's the new congestion tax. I said, it's 11 p.m. Is this thing like 24 hours? If you just go below 61st Street, you automatically hit with this tax no matter what hour of the day it is? That doesn't seem fair. And
like a cab driver could just be like totally fucking you and pressing that button to get the money too.
Well, here's the thing. I didn't give him a tip. And he's like, you want to pay cash? It's like, no, the second they ask you to pay cash, shit's not on the up and up.
I only have cash, so I always have to pay cash, and they never have change.
Right, but when they first ask you, you want to pay cash? No, because I know they never say. They usually hit the button, and you have the screen there. You have the option to pay cash or pay your credit card or whatever. So the fact that he opened the little divider, and that was the first thing he said as he hit the button, I'm looking at this and I'm arguing with the guy. So what is this surcharge? Because he couldn't explain it really. So I said, you know what? That surcharge is coming out of you because I'm not paying for that. So I paid my thing out there. I didn't tip the guy. And he's like, what are you talking about? I said, normally I always tip people. I'm not stingy like that. I'm pretty good with tipping. But I was really pissed because he wasn't fully explaining what this surcharge was. It was another $4 on top of $11 cab ride. That was bullshit.
Well, after 11 o'clock at night, there's already that additional, $250 surcharge just for the late night cab that you already have. So how much extra was it on top of that? $1.50?
I didn't see that $250 late night surcharge. And this was in Manhattan. You have that too?
Yeah, dude. That's always been. There's like a surcharge at night.
Then maybe it was just before 11 because I know I had left.
There's a nighttime surcharge in the cabs.
$4?
No, it was like I think it was like $250.
Well, the guy really couldn't explain what it was, so I said, "Well, if you can't explain what this is, I'm not tipping you for it. This you can take that out of your end." I paid the $15 and then I left. I walked out of the cab because that was bullshit.
Let me see. Hold on, I'm looking this up. 50 cents dollar rush hour charge, $250 congestion surcharge. It doesn't have a time limit on it. It just says. Plus, New York State congestion surcharge is $250 for a yellow taxi or $275 for a green taxi or 75 cents for any share ride for all trips that begin or end or pass through Manhattan south of 96. So there's no time limit on it, but it should only be a $250 surcharge, not $4.
Well, this is bullshit. This really is bullshit, this whole thing here, because...
Like I said, unless the 50-cent overnight surcharge kicks into that, and then I don't know if there's...
I think it was just before 11. It was around... Because I got home, it was 11:30. So I know I got to Penn Station around 11 o'clock. So chances are it was probably just before 11. But there was this $4 surcharge on there that he could not explain, and it didn't break it down further than just surcharge, and I started losing my shit.
Yeah, I think that guy was ripping you off.
So he got no tip. This congestion thing that they're passing in New York, or they passed in New York, is he was trying to eliminate the amount of cars and trucks that are in Manhattan. So here's the thing. Manhattan is a city, but doesn't produce anything, as far as goods or food or any of that stuff. It all has to be brought into the city. So you have a lot of trucks. So you're going to penalize and cripple the companies that are bringing in the seafood, that are bringing in the produce, that are bringing in packages like from FedEx and UPS and all the stuff that has to be brought into the city on a daily basis on trucks. They're throwing so much more against their tolls just to get into Manhattan. And that's not including what they're still planning to do is that they're going to have electronic tolling. They're just trying to figure out which roads they're going to do it on, except the West Side Highway and except the RFK Highway, which are the two highways that run the side of the island on both river sides. So inside the city itself is going to have electronic stuff like you have on the highway, those little sensors that will scan your Easy Pass thing. Now, that also will have, if you're a New York State a city resident, if you go through under there, it won't charge you because you're a city resident. If you're anybody else, you get charged, especially if you're in New Jersey, which Easy Pass is the system that's shared by the Port Authority, which governs both New York and New Jersey. You can't just have the New Jersey Easy Pass. You have to switch it over to get the New York City Pass to get the reduced rate. Otherwise, if you have anything else, you come into the city, you get hit with the full rate. They're really
I just take the subway, man.
No, I know.
That sounds like a hassle.
But you have that convenience of doing and traveling how you travel. People
but you
coming
have a train not far from you.
I
hop on that train into the city.
I know, but I do have family that's still over in Queens. I still have family that's somewhere out in Long Island. So if I go to cross through, usually I would take the West Side Highway down to the Battery Tunnel and swing around the southern end of Long Island there. But now I can't cut across Staten Island because it's $19 to use the fucking Verrazano Bridge. That was going to happen anyway, no matter who's in charge. So if this thing lasts, right?
But so when you say congestion pricing, below 96th Street, so
I saw 61st. I didn't realize it was 96th.
That's what it says on the taxi website here.
Okay.
But is that just for cabs? Like, how do you get surcharged if you drive in?
I get surcharged if I drive in from New Jersey to the city. I get an additional surcharge on the tunnel going into Manhattan, because you don't pay the tunnels and the bridges to leave New York City into New Jersey. You only pay going into New York.
Yeah.
So I get an additional fee going into the tunnel if I drive into the city. Then if I drive around any of those streets that are going to have those sensors for those electronic tolling, I'll get charged again.
But what I mean is, like, if you take like the Lincoln Tunnel or something like that, that only lets off in Midtown. So you don't have an option to go higher. You know what I mean? So
right.
how does that work with the surcharge? You know what I mean? So it's like, isn't that just an increased toll? Like, that's not really a surcharge. That's just an extra toll. You
get an increased toll, right? The surcharge on it is if you're driving around Manhattan and you're on those roads. Like, if you're, say they put it on Broadway or they put it on every of the major roads that go, New York's built like a grid for the most part, up and down, left and right. So if you're driving down the major avenues, 10th, 11th, 7th, Broadway, like that, and you hit certain parts in there in the city, you get scanned and you get the surcharge because you're in the city driving a car.
Oh, so your car has sensors on it, and that's how you get charged.
Yeah, your Easy Pass, it's all the electronic stuff. Or if you don't have it, it reads your license plate just like the tolls do. Yeah, it's really, and the only reason I bring this up, because this is very local, and I apologize to everybody, but the reason I bring this up is because if this is being implemented here in New York, and again, if it succeeds, or if people riot and say this is you're nickel and diming us way too much, because the money, by the way, the money is supposed to go to the MTA to repair trains and subways, which they have yet to do. Every time there's been an increase on something, it was supposed to repair the trains and the subways. And how antiquate has our system been for all of these years?
Yeah, I mean, they take their time with it.
There was a thing I saw.
The MTA pockets a lot of money.
There was a thing I saw on the news a couple weeks ago that they found a switching device that was from 1935 or something like that they didn't realize was still in place.
Oh, yeah, dude. I mean, like, you know, the city had to upgrade so fast that things just got literally buried.
Yeah.
And they had to, like, just move on. It's just like, nope, it's like Futurama. Like, we just have to build on top of that city. Like, we don't have time to, you know, fix the infrastructure. We just need to build new infrastructure. And it wasn't strong enough. But, I mean, you know, this MTA, it's corrupt. They're a corrupt organization.
MTA is, Port Authority is, the state of New York is. I don't know. If it passes here, then what are you going to do with other cities then try to adopt this? Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., Boston.
I don't know, but like counterpoint, though, imagine like you had the population of New York City in your town. You had that many cars in your neighborhood. People weren't taking the trains in. Like, you'd be pretty pissed, too. You know what I mean? Like, if there was that many cars on the street, like imagine the flip side of it for the people who have to live here.
Right.
You know, you have to think about that aspect, too. And also, it's like, dude, it's your car. Like, it's the only belonging that people have that we could just leave on the streets fucking anywhere for free, you know, for the most part. You can't just bring a couch and leave it somewhere. You can't take things from inside your house and just leave it somewhere.
You could.
Your car, you could, but, you know, it's going to get
no guarantee. Yeah, there's no guarantee you'll get it back.
Yeah, but like cars, it's just like, oh, it's just, you know, it's an American thing, so we'll just leave it wherever we want, and, you know, people have to deal with it. But, you know,
but New York City is more.
It's going to catch up eventually.
There's more business being done in New York City than there are people living in New York City.
But I think that there will probably be some sort of exemption for like delivery trucks and people who have to be
I think
in there
that's
every
really
day.
what it comes down to.
I'm sure there's going to be something like that, or a discount, or like this is what the cost is for the week, like an extra $10 or something like that. You know, I'm sure they'll figure something out.
I think that's what was really getting at me, because the city needs all these deliveries. And it's always fun when you walk out of a building and you walk down off the side street and you see a lot of the FedEx trucks or DHL, UPS, any of those things. And they've got a mountain of those orange New York City parking stickers under their windshield that they're just never going to collect or pay. They just leave them there. And it's like, you want to throw another one on there? Go right ahead. Find room.
Yeah, and you know what? Maybe if they paid some of those bills, we would have to institute fucking congestion pricing.
Yeah.
You know, think about that. Think about all the fucking diplomats who have parking tickets that never have to pay thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars in parking tickets and fines and towing and shit like that. They don't have to pay any of that back.
I always find it fun when you see
there's lots of reasons like why there's money shortages here.
I always found it fun when I was driving, like even to Brooklyn, when we were still living in Brooklyn and I was driving into the city for something, when you'd see those powder blue license plates, which were the diplomat
red on top and like the
right,
white, yep.
And you just see them make left turns at a red light or blow through the intersection and like, no one's going to stop them. They're just going to do what they do.
It's like Mr. Burns when he drives his car the first time. He's just like, you see like the elves flying over the hood. He's just like, this is thrilling.
Knocking over that poor guy pulling his meat truck, through the street, which is another thing that is weird to see on rush hour traffic. Are these guys that all the food carts you see on the corners, they pack up and they just pull it in the middle of the street because where else are they going to pull it? And
it's easier.
It's like getting stuck behind a horse. You're like, come on, move this horse and buggy, but you can't really do anything about it.
Yeah, you can't move that horse and buggy. At least bring me a falafel.
Here, $2. I'll take a hot dog, sauerkraut, please. Thank you.
Yeah, if I was stuck in traffic and I was stuck behind like the what are they, the halal guys?
Right.
I would be like, yo, bring me some halal right now.
Ooh,
I'll pay double.
Halal guys are pretty good. That does sound.
Fling it in my window.
I'll take the lamb with some white sauce. That'll be great. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
One other thing before Gittles dies, in New Jersey, they up the fines now. There's this new thing where it's mostly to combat people who are texting and driving, because that has become such a big problem when you're driving. It looks like people are drunk. Remember when you used to see a car wobble on the highway? You're like, that guy might be drunk.
That guy's drunk.
Let me slow down and get over to the far lane and stay away from it. But now it's just people are on their phones taking selfies or texting and whatever, and they're not paying attention. So I guess this is an effort to increase awareness and to combat texting while driving. But they, again, like other things, they include other stuff that doesn't make any sense. So New Jersey now has this policy where if you get pulled over for your first offense of texting while driving, it's $400, right?
Good.
But it also now includes eating and talking excessively to passengers in the car. I've not seen this.
No one's ever going to enforce that.
Right. I've not seen that. I'm just curious as to what that is. Have you ever seen somebody driving if there's 4 people in the car and they're constantly looking that way as they're talking to everybody in the car?
I mean, sometimes, yeah.
You've seen that? I've never seen that.
Definitely. Well, I mean, I'm usually a passenger in the car, so I have nothing to do but look out windows, stare in other people's cars. I
don't think it's going to be enforced, but it's something that I wonder if it does well, because it's meeting a quota and a financial need, that will be implemented in other areas around the country. Getting pulled over for eating a hamburger while you're driving because your hand it technically fits that rule of preoccupied driving because your hands are not both on the wheel.
See, but here's the difference, though. Eating a cheeseburger and having a conversation and texting are two completely different situations.
Right.
If you're eating a cheeseburger, you're focused on the road and eating a cheeseburger.
Unless it's a damn good cheeseburger.
Yeah, unless you're like, oh my God, this fucking cheeseburger, this is an impossible burger, and you crash into a wall or some shit. But, if you're having a conversation, you're literally distracted. And that's the problem. It should be called, like... I don't know. It's distracted driving, but I don't see food being the same distraction as having a conversation where your brain is mentally changing from focusing on the road to focusing on what you're talking. You know what I mean? Like,
no, of
it's
course.
a totally different focus.
I agree. But again, it's being lumped into the bigger issue.
Yeah,
just because they can.
Enforcing this, because when was the last time you saw someone get pulled over and got a ticket for talking on their cell phone while driving? Like, everyone talks on their cell phone while driving.
I would love to see somebody come in screaming and yelling. It's like, I just got pulled over. I got to pay $400 for drinking a big gulp.
Ugh. And then I'd be like, boop. Like, that's a big gulp. But in bench.
There you go. Talking about some fun food things before we go to break. Did you see some of the stuff that Heinz is introducing now? Heinz is becoming like Lay's and Oreos and some of these other food companies.
They're becoming the cranberry juice of fucking ketchup. You know what I mean? Like cran grape, cran apple, cran banana.
Yeah, but people aren't disgusted, and they do make sense by mixing because some people just don't like cranberry, but they'll drink cranberry if it's cut with strawberry, cherry, peach, white grape, any of those things like that. That's just a fruit drink. And then it doesn't really seem out of sorts and like an abomination, if you will. But Heinz has introduced a couple of things. Now, not too long ago, Heinz came out with this whole big promotion that everybody's been clamoring for mayo and ketchup together, which have been a thing that Wendy's has done forever for their hamburgers. It's apparently really big in the Puerto Rican and maybe the Cuban communities. A lot of Spanish communities that have mixed ketchup and mustard together to either use it for their French fries or sauce on food, things like that.
Shit all the time.
Yeah, it's not.
I put like 4 different sauces on my burger.
Yeah,
I'm just mixing it all
as
up.
you should. But I'm just saying it's not unusual. But nobody was clamoring for a pre-produced product of mayo ketchup. So they do a whole big thing, and then mayo, what is it called? Mayo chup or something like that? Something like that comes out, and we got a chance to try it for the consumer, and it's kind of Now, the problem is Heinz is great for ketchup. It's the number 1 pick for ketchup. It is not the number 1 pick for mayonnaise. It just isn't. It's not the best mayonnaise out there, and it's not even close to being in the top 3 of the best mayonnaise. So you mix a superior product with an inferior product, and that's what you're stuck with. When you could just mix Heinz and Hellmann's or Heinz and Duke's mayonnaise or even Kraft. I'll put Kraft up there. Sometimes Kraft isn't that bad. So they put this out, but that wasn't good enough. So they're like, oh, look at all the attention and all the social media stuff that they got. I don't know if the sales translated into the amount of press that they were getting for the mayo chup stuff. So then they were doing, we're not stopping there. And now there's like a mayo mustard one, and then there's a mayo barbecue one that they were putting out. Hasn't hit the East Coast, or at least in our area yet, because I've been looking for it. I've seen a couple of people with it, but nothing in our area to do the testing. So then they said, there's a new one coming. Everybody's been demanding it, and everybody was looking at the blurred photo, and a lot of people, and probably rightfully so, the next progression, we were saying sriracha. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, sriracha and mayo doesn't sound so bad. I don't want it pre-made in a bottle, but it doesn't sound so bad. Nope. Wasn't that at all. They finally did a big introduction. They did a live Instagram story thing. They were doing the live feed from there, and then for a while it was just blurred. And then for a couple of seconds throughout the feed, it would unblur with a hint of what it might be. Then it goes back to blur. This thing went on for like 8 minutes. It was just a complete waste of time. Ugh. So finally they reveal it, and it's a ranch and ketchup mix called Cranch that they're putting out. Now,
Breaking Bad, they had French. When they had the French and ranch.
Right. That's kind of gross too. Although I would think I would try it once just to know the taste, but it does sound horrible. Cranch. Heinz isn't good with mayonnaise. How are they going to be good with ranch? I don't think Heinz even makes salad dressings.
I think they do. Well, they have.
Kraft does. I don't think Heinz has salad dressings.
Heinz has the best pickles.
You know what? I used to think that for the longest time, and then you got me that jar, I think a couple years ago, because you found Heinz pickle chips.
Yeah.
It did not taste the same as I remembered.
Oh, really?
I think
tastes the same to me.
No, it didn't. That was disappointing, because I used to swear that Heinz pickle chips were the best pickle chips for a sandwich or a burger.
What do you go with now?
Now I go, if I got to go easy, I'll do the Vlasic ovals or their chips. Or if I got some of the better stuff, I'll cut up a Clausen's pickle. Or the, what are the Jewish pickles in the red jar?
Oh, I know you're talking about
Tempest. Batemte. I'll get their sour garlic ones.
Their sour garlic ones are really good.
Those are.
It like sting your tongue weirdly. Like it almost like numbs it.
That's how you know it's
crazy.
That's how you know it's good.
Yeah.
So I'll do one of those. But yeah, I don't think Heinz does any. I've never seen any Heinz salad dressing. Heinz has stepped up their game in the barbecue world. I'll say that, because we tried those years ago, and I still buy them because they're individual chef recipes from those different territories. I'll get their Kansas City one and their Memphis one. Even their Texas one is really good. I'll rotate between those three. But the ranch ketchup thing, I don't know. I mean, I'll give it a shot just to see what it's like. I can't imagine it being very good. Anything that's ranch that's not Hidden Valley has usually not been very favorable with me.
Hot sauce, that's about it.
That ranch and hot sauce could be good. I would mix Frank's Red Hot with Hidden Valley Ranch and be happy with that.
There was a place I ate at the other day. Where was it? Fuck, I can't remember.
What kind of food?
Oh, no, it was at Hometown Barbecue. And they gave out their hot, it's hot sauce ranch, like condiment dressing. It's really good. Because you dip it in it, and it's just like kind of cool and spicy at the same time. It's really good.
Almost like eating a buffalo wing.
Yeah, because that's what it was for. It was, like a dipping sauce.
Perfect. Well, I will try the tranch if I can find it in stores when it does come out. I'll try it out. But then the other thing that just came to my attention, and it's only available in the UK for a limited time as they're putting it out as testing at certain breweries out in the UK. Heinz partnered with Cadbury, the chocolate people, who are like, Cadbury chocolate is really good apparently in the United Kingdom, but it's garbage everywhere else because the chocolate made in the United Kingdom is not shipped everywhere. Cadbury is then made by in the United States, it's made by Hershey, but in other parts of Europe, it's made by other chocolate companies. So it's not the actual Cadbury that the Brits have come to know and love for so many generations. Cadbury makes those cream eggs, which I've never liked. I never find them appealing. I like them. I think the dumb commercial of the rabbit clucking like a chicken, laying the Cadbury eggs that they've been playing since the 80s was cute at first, but now that's annoying. I've never enjoyed the Cadbury cream eggs ever. Now they've mixed the Cadbury cream eggs with mayonnaise, and it's a legit thing. You can find it on The Consumer on Instagram. I did the research on it. It's a real thing. It's called now Heinz Cream Mayo, and it's a mixture of mayonnaise and the cream eggs. Now, at first I was getting sick, like that is disgusting. It is disgusting. I'll say that.
What do you use it on?
I don't know. That people were asking, like, is it a dessert mayo? Is it kind of candy? Do you put it on like a cupcake or those kind of things?
Dessert mayo is called frosting, Eric.
I'm sure you could. Well, yeah, but I'm sure you could put it on any of those things. I don't know. I haven't had a chance to try it, and I can't get it because it's only in the UK right now for a limited time. But the video that they put up, it just looks like, you ever get a mustard sampler anywhere? Where they would have like all the mustards of Germany, and there's always that heavily seeded one that at one of those jars that always is left over because nobody really was into it, and that was the last one.
Sometimes.
Well, this is what it looks like. The way they're dipping the spoon into it is not like they're pulling up a dollop of mayonnaise. It's carving like pudding skin off the top because it's so thick and spongy looking. It's just nauseating, and it looks like there's a lot of seeds in it.
It looks like it's like a white Nutella. Like,
are you looking at it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good. The visually does not look good. I don't know what to make of it. I'm definitely looking to hopefully get some here, but I don't know.
I mean, I would try it. I don't know.
I definitely would try it. I just can't say that I would like this. I don't know who would. And the more I was thinking about it too, about that, when there's like,
I guess you could put it on your Twinkie Wiener dogs.
Wow, Twinkie Wiener sandwich. Those are your favorite. The more I was thinking about it, I was like, well, mayo going into that seems kind of gross. But then I realized the Cadbury part was what was gross, because mayonnaise is just oil and eggs, maybe with a little salt or some other kind of seasonings. But technically, mayo can go into anything because it's eggs and oil. It could go into a cake. It can go into any kind of batter, any kind of recipe, and not seem disgusting. But when it was mixed with like a sugary candy, it seemed completely disgusting.
Well, I mean, it's eggs, oil. You got salt. You have a little bit of mustard in mayonnaise. Sometimes I put a dash of vinegar in it because it makes it a little tangier. I like that. But yeah, I guess, if you put in sugar instead of salt, I mean, that's a meringue. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
that's what I didn't even think about that. So if you're one ingredient off, it goes from lunch spread to dessert spread.
Yeah, pretty much. Just change it a little bit.
Wow, I didn't think about that. If it's salt, it's mayo. If it's sugar, it's a meringue.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the meringue, you would have no egg yolk in it, but it's close enough.
Yeah, why not? That does sound kind of delicious.
It would almost be like a custard.
Maybe that's what it is.
It probably tastes like a custard.
So maybe the Heinz cream egg mayo is really a custard.
maybe it's like the stuff that's in the middle of like a donut. You know what I mean? Like a Dunkin' Donuts, like that cream stuff,
like,
and you
like a Boston cream.
Yeah, maybe it's something like that.
Didn't look it though, but you could be right. That's probably what it might taste like. All right. Well, if we get some of that, I'll put some aside for you, and you can test it out as well. Let's take a break. When we come back, I gotta give you some updates on TV, movies, and apparently the British royal family has a problem with Fortnite.
Ugh.
Of all things to worry about. So we'll talk about that when we come back next.
It's Erik Nagel with Erik and Gittles. More next.
Attention. Shameless social media plug.
It's Erik Nagel is on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and reluctantly, Snapchat. So follow, like, and subscribe. Would you kindly?
Hello, chums. This is The Tick, and you're listening to It's Erik Nagel. Spoon. I'll say it one more time. Spoon. Spoon.
Welcome back to It's Erik Nagel. That is me for segment 2. Gittles. Gittles is over in the upside down there. A little bit under the weather, but he's being a soldier and he's championing through all of this. Looking at the rundown from last week's box office, coming in at number 1, the new sort of live action / CGI version of Dumbo from Disney. Number 2, the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror episode turned into horror movie Us, the Jordan Peele movie. Number 3, Captain Marvel making $11 billion. Actually, no, the Captain Marvel movie was the
billion, right?
Oh yeah, it is. Here it is. Disney's Captain Marvel, starring Brie Larson, has become the first female-led superhero movie to cross the $1 billion mark at the global box office.
Yep,
that is quite a feat. Why do they keep?
Those protests didn't work.
Nope, not at all. Didn't even do a dent. Why do they keep making everyone? I'm burnt out on these superhero movies. Everyone's burnt out. Why do they keep making these? Nobody wants them. Well, each one makes $1 billion. So guess what? It's never going away. Never. Coming in at number 4, Unplanned. I don't know what that movie is. And number 5, 5 Feet Apart, which
5 Peter Part.
Yeah, 5 Peter
Part. Who's 5 Peter Part?
5 Peter Part is now the title of this episode.
5 Peter Part.
5 Feet Apart stars
5 Peter Part
stars that kid that all the girls love. He's Jughead on Riverdale right now.
Okay.
He was also Ben on Friends. He was Ross's son, and he was the kid in Big Daddy, Adam Sandler. All the same kid.
The kid.
Yeah, this kid's done a lot of different stuff. But anyway, this is about he's dating some girl who's so sick that he can't touch her or be near her. So it's like dating Rogue from the X-Men, but he has to stand 5 feet apart. Such a tongue twister. Opening this weekend, we had Shazam, which I'm still debating on if I want to go see or not.
I heard it's fun.
I heard it's fun too, but I don't know if it's enough to make me want to go sit in the theater and watch it. The reboot of Pet Sematary is also open this weekend.
It was terrible.
And another movie called The Best of Enemies, which I'm not 100% sure what that is. Next weekend is the new Hellboy reboot. That's coming out. And I think that's really it as far as movies anyone cares about for next weekend as well. Some other movies news for you here, because April 11th. That's that. April 26th is the Avengers Endgame. Tickets went on sale this week. I jumped online as soon as I could to try to buy my tickets through the Fandango app, and it crashed for over 3 hours. I was put into a queue that said it will take at least an hour to purchase my ticket, which I thought was just I had a bad connection. And I turned off my Wi-Fi and just went to regular signal. And I was like, no, this is still going on. What's going on? Then I see the little meter moving, showing you your wait in line. And then about an hour or so into it, I'm on the train going to work, and I see it's been paused. I was like, I didn't pause this. What the hell's going on? And then I find out the entire system has been down. People have been going crazy trying to buy tickets. Picture everybody in the country or in the world, maybe. No, I think this was just the country. Everybody in the country trying to buy tickets for the same movie at the same time. It's bound to happen. So again, for those people like, I'm tired of superhero movies, I'm so burnt out on them, why do they keep making them? Look what just happened. You had it with some of the Star Wars movies, the sites crashed when those tickets weren't available. You had it for Infinity War, not to this extent. This has been the biggest kerfluffle in buying a movie ticket so far, and at least in American history, as far as buying them online. Endgame is breaking all kinds of records, and the movie's still almost a month away from being open. So after 3.5 hours, I finally was able to purchase my ticket. I got the best seat possible I could in that theater, and I was strongly debating buying the 2 seats around me just to keep people away from me. I was thinking of being that guy, but at last I did not do that. Because
that would cost so much money.
Yeah, but it's a 3-hour movie. That's the thing I was thinking about. I was like, oh, it's 3 hours. I wouldn't mind spending the extra money if I didn't have everybody crowded on top of me while watching this movie. But I didn't do that. Although I did hear from other people around the country that they've had showings of this movie that were sold out Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday by the time they got online to purchase their tickets.
So how much did it make so far? $2 billion?
I don't know what it is, but they're estimating now. They jumped the price. They jumped the amounts for the opening weekend. They're already estimating that Endgame will open $800 million. Can you believe that?
I mean, yeah. They should just start saying how much money these movies made, like, contrast to countries' GDPs. Like, oh, this movie did as much as Zimbabwe this month.
Yeah, Disney's GDP is now making it the 5th profitable country in the entire planet.
Yeah, it's like on what was it, Metalocalypse, and Death Clock was like the third largest economy on the planet. That's what Marvel's going to be at this point.
So, Avengers Endgame, April 26th. Everybody's looking forward to going to this movie. You didn't buy tickets, right?
I bought all the tickets, Eric. I sold them all on eBay. I have $800 million now.
Oh, wow. So you're like StubHub, but for movie tickets.
Yeah, GitHub.
There's actually people. Somebody sent me a link.
Actually, I think GitHub is a site. Never mind.
People were sending me a link. There were people actually on eBay selling
for like $1,000.
Well, all right, 1,000. But I saw one that was for $500. I said, the network's open now. You can purchase the tickets. Who's buying these tickets for $500?
People who don't want spoilers.
Do you think people actually are going to pay that? Or these people jump the gun and like, I'm going to put this on there and make a ton of money, and they're never going to make that money back?
I mean, at least to get like their $20 back.
May 16th, John Wick 3. May 22nd, the live-action Disney Aladdin. May 31st, Godzilla King of Monsters, which I am definitely looking forward to. As far as trailers go, the new Joker trailer came out, and I am, I don't know, I'm not really into seeing this movie. It looks very 70s gritty New York kind of Death Wishy kind of movie.
Which one?
Joker. The Joaquin
I haven't
Phoenix.
watched the trailer yet.
It's very gritty feeling. It feels very 1970s, and it's just him getting beat in the trailer. He's just getting beat up everywhere he goes. So it seems like, if he's going to get beat up, then this is how he turned into the Joker, and that's why he's going to lash out. So it just seems like a movie about like clinical depression and mental issues, that he was bullied so much that now that this is what turned him into the Joker. So it's just kind of like, it's a bit weak. I mean, it's a one-off story, so I don't really mind it. But it seems also the Joker seems like Heath Ledger. The way he's portraying it seems like it's coming out.
It looked like that's what he was going for.
Yeah, so it's part like Joker circus clown, and then it's part Joker Heath Ledger kind of mixed into that there. So it's, I don't know. I'm sure
I'll watch the trailer.
I might go see it, or I might wait for it to come out on demand. I've not been really impressed with a lot of the DC movies that have come out. Like even Shazam. People, I've heard mixed things on it. You just told me that people said it was very funny and had a lot of fun. I heard from a couple people saying that this was not worth their time to go see. So I don't really know. I've not found any kind of DC movie where people are like, dude, you got to go see that movie.
Yeah, I haven't heard of any that people said other than like Wonder Woman.
We had talked about Bill and Ted their announcement on the last show. We played that audio of them announcing Bill and Ted 3 coming out in August of 2020. So this past week, I was feeling a bit nostalgic, and I realized I hadn't seen those movies in forever. I went back and watched Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and then Bogus Journey back to back. And a lot of people told me as they didn't like it at first, but as they got older, they started to appreciate Bogus Journey more. And some people liked it better than Excellent Adventure. I was not one of those people. I still love Excellent Adventure. I still think that's the best out of the two movies. But I also realized there's some language in those movies that will not fly by today's standards. Because I'm watching it and something they did, it's very innocent, right? For the time and having grown up in that time, it's very innocent. But by today's standards now would be very offensive and a big problem. So there's that. Moving on to Netflix, I watched The Highwaymen. Did you see that at all?
I don't even know what that is.
Highwaymen is a new take on Bonnie and Clyde. It's about these former Texas Rangers who are now tasked by the governor to go after and bring in Bonnie and Clyde. It stars Kevin Costner and Woody Harrelson.
Okay.
Just came out this past week on Netflix. It was really good. I highly recommend that. April 5th also has bringing us, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which is, if you didn't know, maybe in the 90s, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. It's not that campy, TGIF kind of show. It's a very dark and kind of messed up show that they do on Netflix here, and it's a part of the Archie universe, which is you'd think is weird, but it has as messed up as Riverdale has been on the CW. You can see why Sabrina is as dark and vicious as it is. Season 2 is out there now. You should go watch that. It's a really good show. Also, Gittles and I both watched, in fact, Gittles is the one who turned me on to this, Love, Death, and Robots, which is
that's awesome.
Which is 15, 18 episodes, something like that, of different animated shorts, if you will. I think all of them are about 10 minutes long. And
I think the longest one was like 17 minutes and the shortest one's like 6 minutes.
So rough. It's short enough it's enough to keep you interested, and it's short enough not to like this is dragging on or you want to go watch other things. But each episode is a different story, different animation, different everything. And so you have your favorites, you have your least favorites out of the bunch, and it really is just an interesting collection of stories, which was put together by Tim Miller. If you don't know who that is, the director that successfully leaked the Deadpool footage with Ryan Reynolds in order to get Deadpool even made. And that's available for you on Netflix as well, something you should definitely check out. Our pals over at The Tick have season 2 or part 2 of season 2 now available on Amazon Prime. Our pals, why can't I, Peter Serafinowicz, and of course our buddy Ben Endlin, who created The Tick all those years ago, and our pal Griffin, who plays Arthur, is out there for part 2 of season 2. Can't wait to see that. A little later in the month, actually right before Endgame comes out, on YouTube Premium, season 2 of Cobra Kai will be available. And, of course, Game of Thrones on HBO April 14th.
The end is coming.
Their end is coming, indeed. Also, one other thing I want to bring up to your attention. I think I talked to you about this. Did you ever see the movie What We Do in the Shadows?
Yeah.
You did see that. Okay. I didn't know there was a movie. I just saw for a couple
Jermaine in it.
The couple of weeks from Flight of the Conchord.
Yeah.
For a couple of weeks, I kept seeing these ads on FX and FXX for the show What We Do in the Shadows. And it stars Matt Berry, who is a British comedic actor who I've known him from Snuffbox, from IT Crowd. He was the second boss on IT Crowd.
Father!
Yeah, that guy, yeah. And so he's now the lead in this thing. I'm like, this looks great. And it's sort of like a biopic, not a biopic, a mockumentary, if you will, of vampire culture in modern day life. And I was like, this is great. So I looked up something one day and I see there was a film. I had no idea there was a film. So I was like, oh, I need to go see this film. So I went and rented it. The film's great.
Film's great, yeah.
It's from 2015.
It's got high ratings.
And the one guy who plays the dandy vampire from the 1800s, I guess, or 16, something like that. He was the guy who directed Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And the guy who's the lead for one of the leads from Flight of the Conchords plays Vigar or whatever, the big brutish vampire who just beats people up and has sex with lots of women.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was I was really surprised. It has a bit of a Shaun of the Dead feel, like something like that, where there's one scene where they're just walking down a street and they pass a group of other guys and they're like, don't taunt them. And one says something, and it turns out that they're vampires in human form.
Yeah.
And they're taunting each other, and the head werewolf pulls the other guy down by his collars. Hey, what did I tell you? What did I tell all of you? And then he's like, say it. And they're like, we're werewolves, not swearwolves. Like, this is so dumb. But it's such a great movie. If you're going to check this TV show out, because I have them on DVR, I have not checked them out yet, but if you're going to check that out, I highly recommend going and seeking out and renting What We Do in the Shadows, the actual movie. I actually want to buy a physical copy of it and add it to my collection. It was so good. Yeah,
dude, it's good. It's worth it.
It really was. I love when I find something that I was not expecting to be as good as it was. Because I didn't know there was a movie, and then 3 hours later, I was like, "Oh my god, this movie's amazing! I need to own this movie."
And it's totally your humor style too. It's like that dry, like British, foreign, like just funny.
The jokes are all in the dialogue rather than the actions and the things happening. Yeah. So definitely go and get, if you get a chance to go and do that. Some other news for you too. If you're a big Adam Sandler fan like I am, I don't know if you are, Gittles, we enjoyed his comedy special that he did called 100% Fresh on Netflix a couple of months ago that it came out. But now it's been revealed that he's going to be hosting Saturday Night Live for the first time since he left 25 years ago.
He was on Saturday Night Live?
He never hosted the show ever. He's made appearances, he's done little performances, but he's never done a hosting gig.
Hosted? That's crazy.
He's never.
I feel like most people who are like really popular came back and hosted.
He never did. He always felt weird about leaving and about coming back to host. He just wasn't comfortable doing it. But now they announced May 4th, Adam Sandler will be hosting Saturday Night Live for the first time with musical guest Shawn Mendes. So you may want to add that to your viewing calendar, if you will. Gittles also brought up to me, transferring over to music, that a new addition to Spotify has been Cannibal the Musical, the soundtrack.
Yeah, it's up there. You have to look for it under Trey Parker, though.
So you got to look by artist Trey Parker?
Yeah, if you try and do a search for Cannibal the Musical, it won't come up. But if you search for under composer Trey Parker, it will come up.
All right, I did not know that.
You'll find all the other songs he's written for other things too. It's great. The whole Book of Mormon soundtrack's up there. Like it's.
Oh, it is? Okay, good. Yeah, I like that one. God bless you. If you've never seen Cannibal the Musical, this is the epitome of an indie film.
They did it. It was their college thesis.
Yeah,
film.
This was before they even had South Park was even an inkling. They weren't. Matt and Trey were not even doing the cardboard cutout for Universal as the Christmas card. They were still in college or just getting out of college or something like that.
It was their final project they did in college.
Cannibal the Musical follows the life of, what's his name, Alfred Packer, who winds up becoming one of the most notorious cannibals in the Old West. And
it's a true story.
It's just. It's a musical. It's a Western. It's it's all these different things, and the music scores are so amazing for this movie. You not expect this kind of quality in an indie film like this. Of course, the most infamous one being the Spadoinkle Day.
Spadoinkle Day.
My favorite, Let's Build a Snowman.
Let's Build a Snowman. The Trapper Song. Hang the Bastard.
Hang the Bastard. Hang the Bastard is Broadway quality musical. Like this should be like,
they all are.
This would be like, but like Hang the Bastard itself, the way it's choreographed and the scenery, this would show up in like Oklahoma or Music Man or something, one of those classical Broadway musicals. This would fit in perfectly as being one of their songs in those performances. Does the soundtrack have the song Shatterproof when he does the rap in the bar?
What? No, there's no rap in a bar.
Yeah, there's a thing where he's getting picked on in the bar, and then he sings this song called Shatterproof.
I have no idea what you're talking about. That is not a song.
Look it up. I guarantee you it's a song in the movie there.
He does not rap in there. Like they have like the hoedown, and then they have that fight, and they all keep running out the door and running in the same door.
You know what? I have it somewhere. I'll play it for bonus time on today's show. But there's a part of the movie where he's in the bar and the other like Frontier guys are messing with him, and it's like his Michael Jackson, I'm not bad, when the guys are picking on him, his that moment where he turns around and all of a sudden he becomes bad. There's a thing. You found it?
I think so. Let me look. Oh, this was cut from the movie. It wasn't in the movie.
Because I have it on my DVD thing.
Well, yeah, you probably have like the special feature DVD, and you probably hit watch with the deleted scenes in it.
Huh.
Because it came up under a deleted scene thing on YouTube.
Okay, well, I guess it doesn't have it on the soundtrack there. If you find it on YouTube, watch it. I'll throw it into the...
Here's the thing. None of this matters, because if you do find the movie, just watch it because it's got one of the greatest commentary tracks, because it's just Trey Parker talking about how he wrote the musical about the girlfriend he broke up with, but he named the horse in the movie after his girlfriend. So this is all just revenge.
Really? That was the whole motive of the movie?
Dude, have you watched it with the commentary?
No, I have not.
When they get shit-faced drunk and Trey Parker's like, oh, cheated on me with the dentist who's worth $30 million now, bitch. And he's just like going off. And then,
really?
And it makes, yeah, dude, it's really funny. And he's just like, when he sings the song When I Was on Top of You, and it's about the horse. And yeah, that's about his girlfriend.
Wow. Okay. I learned something here.
Yeah. If you have not watched that movie with the commentary track, dude, it's like one of the funniest things, because it's everyone in the movie is doing the commentary, and they're talking about how they made the costumes poorly, how everything was just done bad. And then they get drunk halfway through it, and then the commentary cuts out for about 20 minutes. They're like, oh, sorry, we went to a strip club. They come back.
That's amazing. All right, I'm going to have to do that then.
Yeah, watch it with the commentary. It's really funny.
And if you're on Spotify, download or bookmark or whatever you do, your playlist for Cannibal the Musical. Is definitely worth the listen, definitely worth the watch. I think that's about it. We'll do the Fortnite stuff next time. All it was Prince Harry said that Fortnite is so addictive that it's gotten out of hand, and it really should be banned because it's bad for people. Yeah, that happens. Yeah, exactly. All right, with that music, that means it's time to get out of here and time for us to do the plugs. Gittles, what do you have?
Gittle Base on the Twitter, Instagram, and Xbox Live. And that's all I got.
How'd you do on the takedown last week?
Oh, I got a third place Judge's Choice and second place People's Choice.
And what was the recipe?
Oh, I did a triple chocolate ice cream with the double fudge brownie and homemade maraschino cherries all mixed in together. It was really good.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, it was a chocolate takedown, so I made ice cream.
Good for you, sir. For me, it's E-Rock Radio across the board on social media and Xbox Live. But more importantly, the show, it's Erik Nagel across the board on social media. Like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and help us out. We just got to hit 1,000 to unlock a couple other things so that we can do on that channel. We really appreciate it. 651-SMITHERS is the phone number. 651-764-8437 if you'd like to leave a message for future programs. We will be happy to accommodate you if you leave one of those there. I think that's about it. Until the next time, everybody, be excellent to each other and
have a wonderful time.
And we'll be seeing you.
It's Erik Nagel.
Did you abscond with the church funds? Did you run off with the senator's wife? I like to think that you killed a man. It's the romantic in me.
It's a combination of all three.
Alas, we're out of time.
Follow It's Erik Nagel on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. For ways to listen to the show, go to itseriknagel.com. And remember to tell two friends so they can tell two friends.
And they can tell two friends. And they can tell two friends. And those two friends can tell two friends.
Well, you get the idea.